ahead and pass it on to her.
Thank you so much, Haley. Thank you for having me. And hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I applaud you for being here today to learn maybe a few tips and strategies how to build your salary negotiation skills. So happy to have you here today. Feel free to put your questions in the chat when you have them. I will stop and I will answer them. You will see here on the screen, you can see my email address. I always want to stay connected with Mason and alumni, Mason students and alumni. So send me an email, connect with me via LinkedIn. I'm happy to be a resource for you. As Haley said, I'm the career advising director in University Career Services. I've been working at Mason for a long time and I had different roles. And I'm also a Mason alumni. I came to grad school here a long time ago. And after a while working somewhere else, I came to Mason and it's been more than 16 years. So happy to connect with you, happy to be a resource for you. And if you can, I know that some of you might be probably joining in person on campus, others are in the virtual space. So if you can, could you please write in the chat and tell us the most, challenging thing. What's your fear? What's the challenge that you experience when you think about negotiating salary? Put in the chat. And if you want to unmute yourself, please do that. We have a small group for now. Happy to hear your voice if you want to share. Haley, I might need your help to read the chat for me because I cannot see it the way I have the setting here, but yep. Do we have anything in the chat yet?
Nothing in the chat yet.
Okay. Well, as you're thinking about this, let me tell you my story when actually I applied for the job here a long time ago. And at the time I was already working as a career counselor for a few years and I was applying for a full-time role. I started first, I was, a part-timer. And I'm a career counselor, I'm a career advisor. This is what I do. I help students and alumni to negotiate the best package, the best salary when they are offered the job. So of course I did that myself. I said, hey, I have to do what I preach. So I apply all those strategies. And even though I wasn't negotiating for the first time, a salary was not easy. It was an interesting back and forth. The negotiation process can be stressful, but I did my homework. I knew how much I should be paid for my role. And I also had the advantage of already working for the organization as a part-timer. So I use all these elements in my favor. And at one point, I thought, what if I'm not going to be able to accept what they offer me? What's happening if I'm not going to convince them I deserve more and I can, offer all my experience and skills and I need a better salary? And that was stressful. And I was almost convinced that, even though I loved the job, I would walk if I don't get the number that I was hoping for. The good news was that we were able to find a solution that was good for both parties, and I got the job. And 16 years, many years later, I'm still here. Now I have a different role. I'm the director, but what I'm trying to tell you is that if you feel that it's hard, if you feel that's stressful, if you feel that is, oh, what should I do? How to do that? I don't know how to do that. You are not alone. Negotiating salary is not easy. It's actually very hard. But the good news, it's a skill. So like any other skill, when you develop that, you will be more comfortable. You will know how to play this game in a way, because it is like that. It's more like a dance, if you want. I don't know. It's just it's a back and forth, and sometimes it's about taking a risk. Sometimes it's about, you know, being very persuasive and showing the things that you can offer. So I will share a few things with you. But one of the things that I like about this picture that you see now on the screen, I want you to have that great feeling. So this young woman here seems very happy, in my opinion, that she got that. She got that great job offer, and she's now, you know, she got that validation for her hard work. So I want everybody to feel like that when you get that job offer, and you know, it sounds so great. So
Elena, we had one response to your question in the chat.
okay, what was in the chat? Tell us.
It says, I believe your question was about like fears of salary negotiation, but our response was some uncertainty about what the market salary range could be for the position I am interested in.
Absolutely. So we'll talk a little bit about that and how we can position ourselves so well that we are the best advocates for ourselves. So we'll talk a little bit about. So thank you for sharing it in the chat. So a few things here that I wanted to discuss with you today. And you'll receive the recording, you receive this. So, you know, if you want to take notes, feel free to do that. I will share some links in the chat as well. Let's see a few things that I want to cover today. So, you know, in terms of what are the employer expectations? So sometimes we deal with so many myths when it comes to salary negotiation. We assume that employers have a certain expectation. So I want to talk about that. Then, when is the best time to negotiate? Then, what can you ask for? What's important to you? Because always, this is kind of a personal experience. What's important for you is different than what's important for others. So based on our values, we will make decisions about accepting or not a certain job offer. So how to evaluate the job offer and what to say. And I will talk a little bit about when you receive a job offer, but also when you are already in the job. Some of you might already be in with an employer and you picture yourself staying there, but then how to also negotiate when you ask for more money. How to accept and decline the offers. And I wanted you to think about something because, as I said, I've been here a long time, and I want you to think about at the time when you're going to be in charge of, you know, being the hiring manager, the person in charge of the budget, the person who can make a difference for someone who is going to work for you. And I will share with you how am I seeing this as an employer, and then how, and hopefully that will be something to consider as well when you're going to make that decision for other people. So let's talk a little bit about employer expectations. And here there are two things that I'm seeing in terms of what most people believe. One is that negotiating salary will upset the employers. And the other one is that it's easier to find a new job than negotiating a salary increase with your existing employer. So let's talk a little bit about that. And I want to share with you what the research shows. So I welcome your questions and reactions in the chat as well. So based on the research, I found several studies. 73% of employers say that they are not actually offended that you are asking for more. Okay. So if you try to negotiate, you know, and think about my story that I told you earlier. Actually, my supervisor told me later, after I was already hired, I in a full-time job, you know, the salary that we agreed. Shortly after that, she said, "Oh, actually, I was glad that you negotiated, and I was quite impressed that you negotiated your salary." And I was thinking, really? I mean, I'm a career advisor. I'm a career counselor. Of course, I teach others how to do that. Why wouldn't I do that for myself? So I was a little bit surprised by her comment, but that told me that she would, definitely not, she was pleased. She was pleased that I was negotiating for myself, and far from being offended that I tried that. Now, about 84% of the employers actually are expecting that conversation during the process. So, it's not a recipe, that a formula that you follow and it's going to be exactly in that particular moment, so keep an open mind, and also read the room, read the intention, and see what's happening. Some employers might make an offer right away. We had the employer, the educational recruitment day a few weeks back, and that's the only event that we have at Mason where actually the employers will meet with you in the morning as like a career fair, and then they extend invitations for interviews for 2 hours later, and it's an event when actually participants can connect with employers, have the interview, and leave the event with an offer. So depending on the event, depending on the industry, depending on the demand, it's not uncommon for you to be in a position to actually have those conversations very early. So here it says that, high majority here of people who never, they said they will not change their mind after they, offer you a job, a salary, and then if you try to negotiate, they will not change their mind. Now, would be some exceptions there, but it's not common. If that happens, actually, I came across an article or a post somewhere that someone said they tried to negotiate the salary, and the employer changed their mind, and they said, we cannot continue the conversation. We're sorry, we'll go with a different candidate. That's very rare. I didn't hear that. It was the first time I heard that. But I would say this: if the employer changed their mind after they offer you the job, it means that you are the top candidate, and they changed their mind because you wanted to try to get a better number for yourself. I would say that's not the best employer for you. I don't know, something is wrong there. They're not professional if they're doing that. So here, also thinking about people who are trying to negotiate a raise while they are in a job, especially if you keep track of your accomplishments, I think you should go for that. Just go prepared and talk about things that you contribute to the organization, how you are doing a great job, and ask for more. So, the worst answer can be, we don't have the money. We appreciate we don't have the money, or you have to wait, but it's not going to have negative impact on you. So this is what the studies said. So I wanted you to know a little bit about what employers are saying. Now, I want you to think about the chat again and try to put something in the chat. Now, if an employer will ask you early in the process, and sometimes there are different moments when that can happen, even before making you an offer. Sometimes they ask you when you apply for the job, sometimes before the interview, sometimes during the interview, right? So what do you think is the best approach? And you can put that answer A, B, C, D, E. What do you think is the best practice?
All right, so far you have 2 students have said C.
Provide a salary range. Okay. Mm-hmm.
One said B.
Mm-hmm. One of the things, so I will tell you what I think the best advice. I would say I recommend that you do D. First, try to avoid answering the question. And why is that important? You might discover during the conversation, during the interview, that the job requires a lot of effort. So they have a job description, but you learn that there are so many responsibilities. I remember one of my students once went with her ideal number. She was very confident based on the job description. But then during the interview, she learned that there is a lot of responsibility that will not actually, the number that she shared will not do justice for all that work that was required of her. And it was a little bit hard for her to negotiate up once she said the ideal number for that type of effort. So my recommendation is to try to avoid that as much as you can. And then, it's easier to have a range because it gives you more room for negotiation. So that would be my suggestion. Now, it depends on the situation, and sometimes depending on the job market, some of you mentioned that in the chat earlier. So it depends what's happening in the job market, right? Is it a job seekers market or is the employers job market? The pendulum is always changing. And for those of you who are maybe a little bit concerned right now with what's happening in the job market, I'm telling you, I know it's hard. It's hard. I was looking for a job in 2008, and during the recession in 2008 was really hard to find a job, but it's not impossible. So the only thing that you could do is just take into consideration things that you can do, what's in your control, and act and polish your skills and get the support that you need. So it's about action.
You had a quick question in the chat.
Sure.
What should you say instead of answering the question about salary?
You will say, I'm looking forward, for instance, if it's before the interview, I'm looking forward to learn more about the requirements for this position and have a better understanding what is required and what kind of skills, So something like that is could be, depends when they're asking you for that. So you can just give sometimes, answer like, and I will share with you the website that we have. We have some answers for some of these situations. The idea is to try to postpone, not give them a number or even the range in the beginning, because you don't know exactly the budget that they have and how much room for negotiation it is. So my favorite is, I'm looking forward to learn more from our conversation about what are the requirements for the positions and the expectations. So, something like that. Okay, so timing is very important when we negotiate, right? So that's important. So in the application, there's several, things that you need to consider. So usually employers ask for a salary negotiation or salary information when you apply. So they ask you to complete that field. And during the interview process, and it could be part of a formal offer, or it could be a conversation on the phone, it could be in writing. There are many situations when that can happen. So when they ask you to give you when you say give us a number, tell us what you expect. Here are some examples that I prepared for you here, and it's connected to the question that you just asked. But please try not to initiate the conversation. I remember one of the students a few years ago going to a career fair. We were practicing, had a role play, how to approach the employers. And I asked, so what would you say? And he said, oh, well, what kind of jobs do you have and what's the salary? And I recommended that he's not initiating the conversation right before. So he would not want to have the wrong, to leave the wrong impression there. And it's also important not to state your current salary or salary history, because your previous jobs were, it was specific context, maybe you had a job in a different location, right? So if you relocate from somewhere else in the US to our area, that's a different story, right? So there are so many elements to consider. So try not to share too much. Do not initiate that, and do not share too much about your current salary, what you have. So here are some ideas how to approach that. As I said, my favorite is when I say, okay, I want to learn more, because I don't want to have surprises that I did not ask for what I can provide. So a combination of things. So hopefully this will be helpful. In terms of what are the factors, what are the things that will play a role when that offer is prepared for you, right? So think about what kind of degrees you have, what is the supply and the demand, right? So as I said earlier, is this an employer's market or a job seeker's market? What kind of budget they have, right? Because for each position, there is a budget. The industries, there's so much. Geographical location, we talk about that too, right? Experience. So there's so many different things in here. So in terms of things that are not in your control, I would say, the majority of them, with the exception of the last two. So something that's in your control is how well you do during the interview. So you prepare and you do a great job during the interview. That's about preparation and research and understanding the role and doing your best. And then how skilled you are with negotiation. So those are the things that can be in your control, and try to take advantage of that. You cannot influence, the budget. If they have a budget and they cannot increase that, there's nothing you can do about that. From my experience as an employer, we are very transparent. In my office, we post a position and we list the salary. And we list the best salary we can give for that position, because I feel that we should be transparent. We should not waste anybody's time and say, this is what we can offer. And if I share with the candidates that this is the best budget I have, I don't think there is no room for negotiation in this case. They should make the decision based on that information. But I know sometimes people apply for jobs and they see the salary, but the hope is that they will be able to negotiate more. And it's not that I do not recognize that some candidates are amazing. They have great experience. Unfortunately, I lost many times amazing candidates. The top candidates, I will lose them because I could not afford to pay what they were worth. But the budget was so limited for me, so I couldn't do that. So few things to consider as you are thinking, what is the thing that I can do, how I can polish my skills, and where I can improve. So in terms of what you can do, what's in your control, in terms of, preparation, I think it's very important to do your research. Let's say you come and you want to work for my office. I always love informational interviews. I want people to come and say, hey, I would like to work in your office one day. I want to know what your expectations are and what kind of skills you are looking for. What is the room for growth? All the questions. I want people to ask the questions that are important for them, so they get all that information they need to make the right decision for them. So when I have an opening, they can apply for the job, and they will be able to write a great cover letter. They will tailor the resume to position themselves the best they can. So I encourage all of you to conduct as many information interviews as possible with the professionals that you admire, with professionals who work in the field where you want to be, or employers you want to work for. So connect with others, because it's very important to understand, to have that insider information, always very important. In terms of, reputable sources, national associations of colleges and employers is a great source. Professional associations, I cannot tell you how important it is to have this affiliation. Even as a student, you can learn so much about what they kind of, what's expected for a certain level of experience in each profession. So there are many resources where you can find what's the best association or best associations in your field. We also have Chronicle of Higher Education inside higher ed. So there are things that are very, very helpful as well. On the right side here, you can see additional resources where you can find information. I will not be surprised that everybody here on this call today is already using artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, Copilot. There are so many tools out there that you can actually use to find information quickly based on the zip code, based on location, based on the level of experience. So use tools like that to save time. I'm in favor of using artificial intelligence for career development, for building your professional skills, and saving time for research. You can do that in a ethical and effective way. So use the tools to your advantage, because time is so precious, it's so limited. So you want to keep up with that. So a few ideas for you how to find that information. And here is something that I want you to compare. I want to hear from you. So if you were to compare offers, and I'm sharing here 3 salaries. Which offer do you think is best? It's not a tricky question, but I want you to think about, maybe ask something or comment something. What are your comments?
Someone in the chat guessed 59. Everyone's saying the last one.
Okay. Anybody commenting, it depends? Anybody say something about that? Well,
Nope.
I want you to think about this, because what did I say earlier? It's very important what you value, what's important to you, right? If you want, very important for you, the salary right now, the what you want to receive, that's okay. But what if it's a combination of things? What if we are talking about the total compensation? And that is not only the salary. So when you think about that, I want you to think about this. The way employers are looking at their future employees. Those are, very precious assets for them, their people. And according to the Small Business Administration, employers typically spend an additional 25 to 40% above the base salary that they offer. So these would be benefits such as, health insurance, retirement contribution, paid time off. So let's say the salary is 60K. Your total cost for the company could range from 75K to 84K. And that was one of the challenges for me, because when I was working part-time and I was a contractor, I was paid by the hour. So in my mind, I was thinking, okay, I have this, I don't have any benefits, anything. So the salary, should be this much. But then when I look at the entire compensation package, and one of the favorite things that I have is time off. I was a teacher before I came to Mason, so I really appreciated that time off, the summers off. So being in higher education, the salary is important, but it's not the most important for me. It's the time off, the benefits that I have. And George Mason has very good benefits. So now, if you think about the previous question I had, now keep that in mind. Is only the salary? If it's a salary, and let me help you a little bit with this because I'm looking at these same scenarios, right? The same numbers I shared with you earlier, but now look at the entire package. And now I want you to tell me which one is the most important for you. And again, you are unique. Your situation is unique. Any package can make sense, but I want you to look at the entire picture with things that are added to the salary. Another thing that's also very important for me when I make decisions about a job, accepting a job, is who my supervisor is going to be. That's one of the most important things for me. So I had many jobs in my career. I changed career directions many times. And I worked in Europe, I work here in the US. And I'm telling you, having a great supervisor makes a difference. And sometimes actually the research shows that some people are willing to get a pay cut to work for the right supervisor. So I want you to keep that in mind as well. So again, where each individual is complex, the situation, their situation is complex. So making a decision is not always easy. So please consider all these elements when you consider that decision. Okay, so think about evaluation here. Think about the offer that was presented to you. Here are two important questions. What are your priorities? And what is negotiable, right? So let's say, I can give you my example. So when I accepted the job here a long time ago, for me it was very important to work at George Mason. I really wanted to come to work at George Mason. It's my alma mater. I wanted to work with students. It just was so important to me. And even though the salary at the time was not ideal, I knew that I pictured myself being working with this organization for a long time. So if you have a goal like that, you know that eventually you're gonna get a promotion, you're gonna have opportunity to work on projects that will pay more or will allow you to do work that you enjoy most. So there are things like that to consider. That's why you have to do your research. That's why you have to talk to people and say, what are the opportunities for growth, professional development, for performance review and compensation as well. And again, this is so important. Knowing what is negotiable, they can make a difference for you in the process. So in terms of priorities, here is what's important, right? For me, it was important to stay with an employer that I wanted to work. The culture was very important. The supervisor, I remember my first supervisor was amazing and did influence how I, did learn to become a great supervisor. And, it became a great mentor for me as well. So you think about what's the most important for you, and then you make that decision. So a few ideas here, and these are the most common things that I'm hearing from students and alumni. But again, is it enough for you? Is it attractive enough for different reasons for that opportunity for you to say, yes, I accept this position? In terms of what is negotiable, it's quite the list here. So if you were concerned that there isn't much that you can actually negotiate, the good news is that there is, are you able to see the screen, the slide right now?
Yep, the slide says what is negotiable. Is that the one
Okay.
you're on?
My screen looks a little bit different, so I wasn't sure.
Okay.
Okay, so here are the things that you can negotiate, and if the salary is not what you can negotiate right now, the base salary, think about all these other benefits that you could negotiate. So some people prefer that sign-on bonus, right? Sometimes, you know, my preference is if I have to pick between a base salary and a sign-on bonus, that's going to be the only one time, I will try to negotiate a better base salary, because after getting used with that first year, with having enough money, then you kind of miss not having them the next year. So that will be what works for me. But again, each situation is different. The timing is different. So I want you to think about this. These type of positions, right? So I'm looking here at a shorter probation period. So if you work at Mason, there is a classified type of role. And in that role, a staff member will have to be in a probation period for 1 year. And they can prove that they do their job. And then once they pass that first year successfully, they have more job stability. It's very, you know, it's very hard to fire someone after that 1 year period, once you said this person is doing the job, right? So for those of you who are thinking about, you know, that stability, think about what how long that it is, and then, you know, once you pass that, you have that peace of mind that now I'm established here, I prove my value, and I don't have to worry about, you know, being fired. So a few ideas for you to think about. Again, what's important for you now. One of the things that is very, you know, it's kind of in flux with the pandemic. Working remotely was one of the most appealing things, and then working hybrid schedule. Some employers now are asking employees to come back full-time to the office. There are it's a back and forth between the employees and employers, and, you know, again, know what's important for you and see what you can negotiate. If it's not a salary, there is a lot that you can do. So I mentioned earlier that, you know, what are the things that you could do when you receive that offer, and I'm giving you here an example. Of course, you can make it sound your own, and I want you to think about what can you say. So you have to be prepared to support your statement. Why you believe that a salary with a certain range will be a better compensation for your experience, for your qualification. So some ideas here for you to consider. I mentioned that not only when you start working for an employer, but also when you are an existing employee, it's important to negotiate your salary. You don't have to leave that organization to get a better salary. I know that some employers are doing a better job than that. Some employers are proactive. They don't have to wait for the employees to ask for what they deserve. Employers are already looking at the performance, and they always keep up with the value in the market, and they offer that increase without waiting for the employees to ask for more. But there are others who are reactive, employers who are reactive. They don't do anything until the person will ask for more. So, you know, if you see that your employer is not valuing you, or not, offering very concrete, ideas of how they appreciate you. They might say nice things about you, but you say, okay, so I get this performance evaluation, and you tell me great things about my work. I appreciate that, and I want to know what's for me next. So what can we discuss? A salary increase, or um, a new project that you can work on, or different things that can definitely help you grow and also feel valued by that organization. So here is very important to think about those considerations. The same two questions will be important to consider. Okay, what are your priorities, right? Sometimes, I know there are employees who will work for an organization for a while because of these tuition benefits. They can go to get more education, a master's degree, or even a PhD, and the employer would pay for that, which can be a great for saving those funds. And then the employees might need to stay a little bit longer for that. So again, think about what's important for you and what you negotiate. Always very important to have, and I think after a performance evaluation, it's great to have that conversation, especially if you got a very good report on your evaluation, very good rating. So here is about how to approach asking for a raise. If you are confident with your work and you did your research, you know that the job market, and you have to be paid better for your efforts. Always thinking about this. You see how each conversation starts, giving my accomplishment, these accomplishments, giving my performance, right? So you always have to have these examples to share with your supervisor. Something that let me see, I wanted to put something in the chat because some of you might think, okay, so how I do that? And I promise to put a resource here. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the resource LinkedIn Learning. But this is a great resource, and for you as Mason students, you can benefit from free access to, let's see, I want to put it in the chat. This is, you will have to log in with your Mason credentials. So if you are a student, you can do that. I'm not sure it works for alumni. If you have any alumni in this group here, here is something that you might want to look at some suggestions and some video tutorials that can help you build those skills, so you are confident how to approach a conversation like this and how to advocate for yourself. So some ideas in those LinkedIn learning tutorials, they are great. LinkedIn Learning is great for building other skills as well. So I recommend that you are using it because with investment of time, you can build so many skills nowadays. And just to give you an example, last time I checked, there were only on Excel, for instance, more than 10,000 tutorials, different levels of proficiency. So if you haven't used it yet, I invite you to check it. Be curious about this and see what you can learn. And what I like about this is that there are short videos, right? So you don't have to listen for a 2-hour tutorial to learn something, because some things you already know. But if you go to a particular topic and say how to approach this conversation, usually 2 to 3 minute videos will cover that topic. So again, time is precious. You go directly to that topic and you learn something new, and hopefully you practice and you feel more confident. So in terms of timing, is very important sometimes just to be patient enough with the process, because you want to you know, have that conversation with the person who is making that decision, right? Is that person going to say yes? So think about, you are going to interact with a recruiter, with a hiring manager, with a supervisor, with the unit leaders, right? So between the recruiter and the hiring manager, of course, the hiring manager has that power to say that they have that power of negotiation, say something about it. So be patient, because you will have more power to negotiate later. So it's not always easy, you know, finding the right timing. So a few things I wanted you to know as you're thinking about accepting or declining job offers. I would say that if you have decided to accept an offer, be prepared to commit fully and let any other organization that you are interviewing with, let them know that you are, you have already accepted an offer. And if you need to decline the offer, remember to maintain your professionalism, because you don't want to burn any bridges in the future. And trust me, the world is so small, and you might be in the situation to connect with these employers again. So at the end of the day, I want you to think about that negotiation is a process, and it's not personal, it's just about business. So I know people who decline an offer, amazing offer for an organization, because, for instance, in that case, it was a small company. The salary was great, but for that particular person, for the small company, the health insurance benefits were not that great, and they could not, the person could not cover their family members. So even though the salary was great, not having a great package for a family health insurance was a reason for them to decline. So again, each situation is different. So knowing your priorities, knowing your reality is going to be very helpful when you make that decision. So I'm telling you that usually people don't like to negotiate. So if you don't like it, you're not alone. But I would say, based on the research and just from my conversations with many students and alums over the years, I can tell that women are more likely to avoid it. Men are more confident when it comes to negotiating a better salary, a better package. So based on the studies that I looked at, here what I can share with you. So I encourage women to think of what is on the table and don't leave anything on the table. So try to ask for what you are worth it, because again, it might take a while for you to be able to negotiate later. So the fact that 60% of women say they never negotiate when employer overpay is, to me, it's just a big number. So I hope that number will decrease in the future. So please keep that in mind. Okay. I mentioned something in the beginning of the workshop today, and that was, what to do when you are in the position to make that decision about others' salary. So these are things that I think are important. For me, it's not as important to know the salary history, and I encourage others to consider that as well. It's not as important what people were paid to that moment. It's important to pay them for the effort, for the experience, for the expertise, for the role that you are hiring. So, and you know, thinking about, you know, some people might not think about negotiating, or you know, they might be reluctant to do that. So I think it's important, I think, just to offer that best offer that I have. Be transparent. This is the best I can offer for you, and go with that. So there are many many resources to keep the information, but I think for me, if I were to look at those studies that I shared with you, definitely I will not be offended if someone tries to negotiate. I will not change my mind if I can offer more. And sometimes if they think of something, maybe a benefit or something that can, you know, be added, something I can offer, I'll be happy to do that. But again, sometimes the most difficult to negotiate is the salary. We are a state institution here, so I'm talking from that experience. In the private sector, it's a little bit more flexible. So again, you have to know, to do your homework, to know the details about each situation. So just to conclude, before we finish today, I wanted you to think about this and think about salary negotiation. If you were to have a summary here, how do you find, you know, the information on salary for the position? We have this website on, let me stop sharing, and I want to show you this website. When to negotiate, very important. We talk about that. Try to take your time to learn as much as possible about the role before you negotiate, and what factors to consider. We kind of covered those things. So if you were to think about 3 takeaways from this, I think these are important things. And let me show you a few for a moment, show you the website that I mentioned here. Just a moment. So it's called Salary Negotiation. It has so much information on how to prepare, what elements to consider. Very important to know your value, right? The research the market, identify your goals, and of course you make the ask. So in addition to what I share with you on the slides, if you don't want to review the slides, just use them, the page, because we have so much information in here. So you know, how to address that. So we wanted you to have these resources. So if you were to remember only one thing here, remember the page, because that has so much information for you. And I know we are almost at time, but I wanted to also share with you. Let me see. I wanted you to. Let me see if you can see this. Okay, so I'm back to my PowerPoint, and here are a few things that I wanted you to think about. I said that salary negotiation is a skill. So we are not becoming overnight proficient at salary negotiation. It takes time, it takes practice. So with so many things competing for our attention, sometimes it's just, you know, not enough time to do that. But here I have a challenge for you. Think about maybe spending 10 minutes a day to try something different. And I promise you, you can do so much in 10 minutes. So here are some suggestions for you to think about, right? So maybe you can start today. The reality is that for those of you who be here today, you already invested an hour in your career readiness, in your skills for career development skills, particularly salary negotiation. So few ideas to consider, things that you can do quickly, and just break this big task in smaller digestible tasks. So here is what I recommend that you do. There's so many different things that you can do, but just few suggestions for you. The idea is to spend at least 10 minutes when you have the time. So I'm looking forward to hear what questions you have. I included some of these resources that I think can be helpful for you. There are so many skills in the career development. We are expected to know so much about so many different things. So keep these resources in mind. And if you have any questions, let me know. And if you don't have any questions, I wanted to share in the chat what is helpful. What do you think was the most useful for you?